The 450 motocross segment is a hive of activity for 2023 with new options from the likes of Husqvarna, KTM, Honda and Yamaha, not to mention a new Kawasaki KX450 just around the corner for 2024. That makes the GasGas MC450F one of the elder statesmen of the segment. It too is expected to move to a new platform for 2024, but until then we have the carryover bike, and a bike that has used largely the same chassis and engine since 2019. So to find out how well it's aged, we're at the Wollongong Motorcycle Club. Let's see what it's like. The MC450F sits atop the GasGas motocross range and has done since the Spanish brand was reborn under the KTM Group umbrella in 2019. But don't discount it as simply a KTM wearing red. In the current 450 class, the MC offers a unique point of difference with technology which has been proven on racetracks around the world. Look further than the steel frame, cast triple clamps and plain silver rims, and you've got a bike dressed in quality components, matched by clever everyday functionality, including toolless air filter removal and toolless compression and rebound adjustment on the airfall. So taking a step back and really looking at the MC450, it's a case of less is more, right? It's a bike that dates back to as far as 2019 because that's when KTM first came out with this engine and this chassis. So there's been some running changes along the way, but fundamentally that's where this bike is at. It's a little bit softer as a result, and it weighs less too because it has less equipment on it. There's only one riding mode. There's no changing riding modes. There's no traction control, but you do get electric start. And the other really redeeming feature with this bike is that it is quite affordable for a European bike. Just over $14,000 right away, but when you take into account the $1,500 rebate that's currently being offered by GasGas in Australia, that makes it about $2,000 cheaper than a lot of the Jap bikes, including the new YZ450, and nearly $3,000 cheaper than the likes of the new KTM 450 and Husqvarna 450. So certainly a lot to like. Really great ergonomics, great equipment, hydraulic brakes, hydraulic clutch, really nice setup with the foot pegs and everything else. And a bike that I think is really well put together. And I mean, aside from my knee braces sort of scuffing up the side of it, it's worn really well, the frame guards have worked really nicely, and it's standing up to all the punishment I can throw at it so far. So enough of the chat, let's get out to Mount Kembla and see how it rides. Well, what an incredible day it's been at the Mount Kembla motorcycle circuit just outside of Wollongong here. Really fun conditions, a little bit of tacky stuff down in the shadows, in the willows section here, but quite skatey and dusty up the top where it's more exposed to sun and wind. And I have to say, across all conditions, the GasGas MC450 has to be one of the most sure-footed and confidence-inspiring 450s currently available on the market. Against the newer set of KTMs and Husqvarnas, and even against newcomers like the Honda CRF 450 and the Yamaha YZ450, you kind of know what you're getting with this bike. It doesn't feel as rigid, the engine feels softer and more mellow, and for a vet rider like me or an intermediate rider, it's more user-friendly and it's really inspiring confidence. So the fact that it is so user-friendly, it's not wearing me out as quick, so I feel across a 15-20 minute moto, you're going to be as quick on this as nearly anything else. You're probably going to be quicker in fact because it's not tiring you out as much. One of the real divisive topics of the GasGas or any KTM Group bike for that matter is the air forks. I have to say in this particular setting it's probably the most agreeable air fork that I've come across yet. I had this one set for the standard recommended setting of 10.7 bar, 156 PSI. I'm running 12 PSI on the tyres, front and rear, and I found it really, really good. It's consistent through the stroke. Yes, it has that bit of brittleness at the top of the stroke, and as a result, it can feel maybe
to some maybe a little bit dead through corners when you're trying to find ruts and things. But again, for the intended audience, an intermediate rider like me, I found like there was less going on and I felt more relaxed on the bike as a result. You don't really want a dead feeling bike in the front, but in this instance, it actually works pretty well and it's consistent through the stroke. So it's dead, yes, in terms of feeling, but it's predictable at the same time. Otherwise though, it's a bike that feels super stable and sure-footed. Under drive, back-to-back a couple of bikes here today, and on the dustier conditions, I felt more confident screwing on the throttle with this because it drove straight, the engine came on a really linear fashion, not quite giving you the instant sort of spike in power when you need it as much as other bikes, but predictability and smoothness I reckon is key for a lot of riders, especially 450 riders, and this delivers it in droves. It's a bike that's less susceptible to conking out, flaming out through corners compared to a lot of other 450s. And it doesn't have that typical heavy inertia that you get from a 450 engine. So you can ride it a gear higher, which again capitalizes on the smoothness, means you're less stressed, you're not clinging on as much, and you're smoother on the track as a result. So you're riding for longer, you're riding quicker, more consistent. It's win-win-win for me, and I think it works really well.
After several weeks living with the MC450F, we've got to be honest, it's one of the real surprise packets of the current 450 class, offering genuine differentiation from its KTM Group siblings, and for the everyday rider, a 450 that doesn't want to rip your arms off every chance it can.
The GasGas MC450 might not have a lot of the headline technology that a lot of the 450 class now boasts, but really, less is more. It's simple, it's lightweight, it works, it's user-friendly, and for someone like me, even though this bike will conceivably be replaced by the all-new KTM platform next year, if I'm only riding a couple of times a month, this is still as relevant as ever. I think the fact that you can get it a lot cheaper than a lot of other current 450s now, it's a bike you can buy now and be happy on for 5 or 6 years to come.